You're now listening to The Bryan Callen Show, rated the #1 podcast of all time.
Of all time. Make sure you're ready, because this is the podcast where you are guaranteed to learn virtually everything. All right, everybody, this is The Bryan Callen Show. Woohoo! So annoying. I couldn't think of a better. Name. The Bryan Callen Show.
That's right. Mine's the Bret Ernst Show. So
hey.
shows how original. Either that, or we're just very narcissistic. Is that the word?
Yeah. Well, that's what we need. Another fucking podcast with just comics. Hey, you have a podcast? Me too. We should all have a podcast.
That's what I was going to call my podcast. Another fucking podcast. I'm serious. Just another podcast.
I think that's funny. Another fucking podcast is a really good. You should change it. Change it to that name. Bret Ernst. Bret Ernst, another fucking just another fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Not even your name. I swear to God, it'll be a hit,
dude. It's just another one. But you're
going to be in Cleveland this weekend.
Yes, I am, sir.
At Hilarities, is that what it is?
No, actually, I'm at the Improv.
Oh, at the Improv.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard. I like that. I think I've done the Improv in Cleveland.
Well, yeah, Hilarity. I mean, they're both great clubs.
Yeah.
But
No, maybe I was at Hilarities.
The Improv gave me my first shot there.
Yeah.
Years ago, so I'm loyal, man.
I understand. I like that about you. I will be at. I think I'll be in Raleigh, North Carolina by the time they already play.
Good nights.
But then I'll be at Donnie B's in Springfield, Illinois.
Isn't the road great? It really is, man.
October, I love it. October 4th and 5th, I'll be at Donnie B's, and then I'll be in Houston Improv 11th, 12th, 13th. And then I'll be in Helium in Buffalo the 17th, 18th, and 19th of October. Do you
That's weird, because I'm
Have you done those days? I feel like such a hack.
First of all,
I feel like a hack.
First of all, we haven't even introduced that I'm on your damn show. I just jumped right in.
I got my, and this is no bullshit. I think you are in the top 5 best comics working today.
Does he say that to everybody?
No, I don't. Bret Ernst.
Well, I would agree with you.
I'm not kidding.
No,
I think
joking.
you are. I think, in fact, you did a charity for me, and everybody who were all sophisticated people there, and every single one of them.
Aristocrats.
Gentlemen,
that's all you roll in.
They're all like, this is very funny. It's very funny. But
very good.
They all loved you, and you were in a lineup of hitters, and I think you got the most compliments. So if you haven't seen Bret Ernst, you're out of your mind. But it's really true. It's frustrating because I watch you crush fucking rooms. And it's funny being a comic because I almost feel like, it's like being a journeyman fighter or something. Yeah. It's like, hey, I get your popcorn here. It's like those movies. And we have a skill set. Like if you put a laugh meter in the premiere of The Hangover, which a lot of people think is the funniest R-rated movie, and then you put a laugh meter in one of your shows, it wouldn't even be a comparison. I mean, if you go to your show, you're going to laugh for an hour and 15 minutes hard the entire time, and it's going to surprise you and it's going to be funnier than any movie that's ever done. And a handful of my friends have that skill set. Mm-hmm. You and Dove and and the people that I know. And it's I always feel a sense of pride that we're part of this fraternity that actually a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a fraternity of comics that should be bigger than they are.
What would you do with a lot of money if I give you $20 million?
I'm tapping out. I'm gone.
Are you?
Yeah. I'd still do some comedy clubs every now and then, but I'd get the fuck out.
Would you?
I'd probably get an island, a small island off the coast of Florida.
You want to be that isolated?
Actually, you know what? I'd buy a nice little house, maybe a smaller, maybe $1 million home up in Agora area.
Yeah.
I like it. It's nice, and then just do the road and maybe produce my own script. I got this movie I've been trying to sell. I've been optioned twice.
Yeah.
Can't get the money for it.
Well, I mean, that's impossible.
It is. It's impossible, man. I mean, it's impossible just to get optioned, and it got optioned twice.
Yeah.
But it's about Brooklyn in the '80s.
Let me read it.
Yeah, maybe I know
I'll
some
pass
people.
it on to some people I know. Listen, I don't give a shit who you have unless you gotta attach an actor that has overseas cachet, quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, you make a friggin' killing if you can get those pieces in place. Unfortunately,
getting those pieces in place.
Getting those pieces in place. And
have they seen your eyebrows and how they contrast with those blue eyes? I mean, I feel like I'm literally sitting in the Mediterranean Ocean right now.
Well, I'm surprised that you haven't. You just take your shirt off in auditions. You're like a greyhound. You're just sleek and ripped.
I hear that a lot, dude.
You really are, man.
But it's not about that for me. It's just about the emotional intention and my self-expression. Yes, I'm built like a greyhound. Yes, a lot of people find that attractive. Your triceps are nothing to toy with.
Well, I mean, I don't mean to, but you have such little plum shoulders. They're round, but they're just a perfect size. Yeah, perfect size though, smooth with striations. I love striations. Your striations are phenomenal, especially in between your chest. I bet you can hold a pencil and snap it if you just peck it out.
Well, I can, and I have, and it's funny because that is one of the more neglected areas of the chest, and not so for me. I own a pec deck. I actually own a pec deck, and it costs me a lot of money. It's in my living room, but a day doesn't go by that I don't work the inner part of my chest. Well, it
shows, and just kudos. Your hard work's paying off.
Thank you very much. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, my friend. And let's not kid ourselves. Some genetics.
Yeah.
Some genetics.
I mean, we can honestly say we both, you can't work on a jawline. It's just a God-given.
Your jawline could carve a trophy.
Well, we're both very symmetrical, and symmetry is very important, especially with the female being attractive to the female species. They look for symmetry and security. We both have swagger. We both, protect. We protect.
You give off, and I never use these two words in a sentence. You give off a magnetic scent.
Thank you.
Yeah. You could never be a hunter because it just smells like man everywhere.
And you're je ne sais quoi, is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, well, it's actually pronounced je ne sais quoi, but it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
I speak French. I studied in Europe.
But there's just you're it. Like when they describe it, it's Bryan Callen.
That's really sweet. They call me Bryan It Callen sometimes.
Well, I know.
Other times they call me Bryan.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
What do you mean? Your name on the Comedy Store, considering it's bigger than everybody else's on the wall, there's a little it. In parentheses. I mean, Mitzi, that's what the name Mitzi gave you.
I think that's what she gave me, the It Boy.
Yeah.
Both our names are up on the wall at the Comedy Store.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Comedy Store the other day. What in the world would some of those people do without the Comedy Store? That place is a magnet for the lost and the broken, and a lot of great people. But at the same time, there are a lot of people that just hang around, and I'm so thankful for that place in so many ways.
The way it is, it's like the land of the misfit toys from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But you know what I describe it as is I heard a rumor that Peter Luger's in Brooklyn. I don't know if this is true or not, because the guy who told me that has been known to, but we'll still just go with it. That their pan that they cook the steaks in, they haven't cleaned it in 50 years, and because. Yeah. Of the years of cooking on it, it's got its own flavor. The pan, the spices.
That's always the case with a cast iron pan.
Well, that's what I heard.
You never use soap. You wipe it clean, but you don't use soap on it.
Well, for the thing is that and I guess the heat doesn't. But it's not about the pan itself. It's about the idea. Yeah, that's what the Comedy Store is. It's that pan that has just had comedy all over it. Yeah. Really, it's the home of everybody. I mean, Richard Pryor worked on the stage we work on. It's little room.
It's incredible. Robin Williams, Jim Carrey. I always say, if you come to L.A., in some ways, the first place you should go is the Comedy Store.
I mean, that's why I came out. And even though, I grew up, I was more a fan of the late 80s, early 90s comedians where, the Comedy Store was then in its heyday. But when I came out to LA, it was to be a store guy.
Oh, really? Did you ever think, you're a serious guy, a macho guy, a thoughtful guy. You're not a guy, and what's amazing is, as funny as you are and as skilled as you are at this, and I know it's going to be a matter of time before this country and people realize that, but did you ever think of yourself as being a comic? You had a tough childhood, Well,
I didn't. I was always cutting it up, man. I mean, how do I say? Like, people who knew me, could not see me doing anything else.
Really?
But people who didn't know me wouldn't have known, because even when you were a kid growing up, you put on that bravado a little bit.
I saw you almost fight a guy from the stage at the at Westwood Brewing Company.
But it's not. You were. I remember that. Yeah, you were in the audience, and
you're like, "What's up, dog? You got something to say?" I was like, "Dude, you're doing."
The
comedy.
guy was obsessed with hair. But no, I mean, look, I'm not Tommy Tough Guy, man. It's not that. It's I've had my ass. I've chalked up many an L. And it's funny. A lot of comics. I don't even know I was perceived that way. Especially, a guy like yourself. Even there are much tougher people than me.
Well, yeah, you're a thick Italian kid, and you'll throw down if necessary.
Well,
and, that's rare in the comedy world.
Well, I'll tell you, my buddy had the best line ever. We were there's some dude was riffing, and he goes, little guy, and he goes, my buddy's pretty big dude. He goes, I ain't afraid of you. And my buddy goes, hey, man, you ain't got to be scared to get your ass kicked. And it's true, man.
Well, the thing is,
I've come from the shoulder a lot of times, and just because I wasn't afraid,
right,
doesn't mean you're not gonna always win.
It's actually not about being a tough guy. It's more about being the kind of guy, and I don't see a lot of this in L.A. You're the kind of guy. You're fair-minded. You're good. You're a good person. You like everybody. Last thing you're thinking about is fighting. However, I always say that you come from a culture. If you are on the East Coast.
Well, I grew up around a lot of black kids. I grew up in mostly black schools. That's where I learned.
All right.
That's where I learned to fight and stuff.
But also it's Italian. It's also East Coast, where you learn how to behave. You got to learn how to behave. There's a point where somebody can be enough of a smartass with you where you might just smack them in the fucking head because that's simply how it's done, and this guy's out of line, right? That's how. That's
I will
what
honestly
I mean.
say if I ever hit somebody, they fucking deserve it.
Exactly.
I mean, I've walked away plenty of times, just especially I know it sounds crazy, but if I know I can beat a guy, I'm not going to touch him.
Right. That's right. That's how I am. If I'm not so sure, my heart starts racing. I'm like, I got to say something now. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's almost like if I'm afraid of somebody, or like if somebody's like, if I'm looking at them going, this guy might take me,
right,
then I'm more likely to swing on that person. And somebody
By
I
the
know
way,
I
there's
can
so
take.
much to lose with any of that kind of behavior.
God.
I got to be on stage tomorrow. I can't be. I went and did a CrossFit class, and of course I'm a
you
loser.
Bet your ass you did.
Yeah, you're damn right I did. And I will. And we'll post some shots of just my torso, just my midsection. But you guys have earned it. My listeners have earned it. But I remember I had to keep up with the 26-year-old next to me who I'll never meet again. He was doing pull-ups. I go, I got to do that. I pulled the skin off my hands and I pulled my arms. I couldn't straighten my fucking. I was literally walking around like a T-Rex for a week. I almost went to the doctor, and Dove Davidoff goes, you pulled your arms. You don't have to go to the doctor. You just pulled your arms because you didn't warm up like an idiot.
Dove's Dove's a tough kid. I mean, there's a lot of comics that are, we're not, because when you I guess typically think of comics, they're always nerdy and, I can't get laid. I mean, let's be honest, we both fucked a lot in our day.
We certainly did. I put up some professional numbers, ladies and gentlemen. I won't lie to you. I won't lie.
Okay, just to let the listeners know, just let them in on it so they don't think, I mean, they probably know by now. We do this a lot where we just brag about ourselves to each other and compliment each other. No, it's more of a joke.
Yeah, well, my podcast I've had nothing but academics and authors on, so we decided that we're going to have two a week, and one day a week I'm going to get a comic on. The other day I'm going to have somebody who wrote 5 books. When it's a stark difference.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. Somebody who writes books. Now you have somebody on who fucking refuses to read. I'm against it. I don't believe in it.
I don't believe in reading. I'll read tweets. That's as much of an attention span. Do you tweet a lot? What do you think of this whole social media thing?
I don't. You know what, man?
I'm allergic to it.
I try. I mean, I do some things. Like yesterday, I was watching Mexico lose to USA.
Yeah.
I get into stuff where even today I tweeted something. There's certain things that come to mind, but I just see people with tweet after tweet and people on Vine making videos. Yeah. I don't have the patience for it, man.
I don't either.
And you need
Chris
it.
Chris D'Elia will do that guy.
Yeah, he's a beast on that shit.
He just does a Vine every day. He tweets constantly. I can't do it.
But he's again, it takes a certain type, to do that. I was never. I'm not like that.
I'm too deep a thinker.
Yeah, I'm more to myself. I like to sit in my room and see. Here's what people don't know about me, Brian. I'm an onion. I got a lot of layers.
Wow.
But I will say
that's an amazing metaphor. First of all, keep going.
But I am. I'm an onion, and there's so many layers to me. And
let me get my hand on my pants. Hold on.
There's so many.
There it is.
There's so much depth, and sometimes you got to be careful because if you
Dude, you're looking down and playing with your. I'm so impressed. You're so sensitive. Keep going.
But I was gonna say like an onion, with so many layers. As you peel back, I might just make you cry.
Dude, I've never. Dude, that honestly, that metaphor. Why are you crying right now? You must be, because that metaphor is That metaphor is it's probably the most beautiful metaphor I've ever. Are you a poet? Do you write poetry?
I write poetry. I model.
You do, obviously.
Yes, I do.
European modeling, or because I don't.
Nobody's gonna find this funny, but us.
No. It doesn't matter. We're getting to the gist of what you're about, because what you are essentially is a deep emotional model.
Well, see, here's the truth behind it, Brian. The reason why I got in so many fights when I was younger is I would like to before I get in a fight. I would. It was any excuse to take my shirt off, and then I would wet my hair with water. Wow. Fling it back, and then we get into it. Let them know.
Yeah. Your mouth is so full. Is that natural, or have you had work
my lips
done?
are genetic.
They are. They haven't been enhanced.
No, but they're real. My ancestors, obviously of Roman descent.
Oh, not Iran.
No, Roman.
Okay, Roman.
And Italian, and right. From what I found out, my great grandfather back in the day
was Armenian.
No, he was a model for statues. That was like all the statues you see in Rome.
Yes,
like the lips. I get my lips from him. And
honestly,
my abs and pecs.
It makes sense. You have a set of shoulders and a back that I could literally build a housing complex on, and I think I've told you that before. And I want to thank you for that. First of all,
you know why, Brian? Because I walk around with the weight of the world on my shoulders.
God damn it, you're deep. I didn't expect this to be this deep, dude. If I made you the emperor of the world, what are the first 3 problems you'd solve? In all seriousness.
All seriousness.
Yeah.
I would probably, of course, I would order peace. I would order dialogue, no physical violence, only in competition. And then I would kill all hipsters
and lawyers.
And lawyers would die.
Good.
And then I don't know. I guess, and then do something for the animals, because I really
for the suffering animals, you asshole. I guess I do something for the animals, the children, and the women.
I'm for women's rights, and I just think.
I love that politically correct shit. Somebody described politically correctness as trying to pick up a piece of shit from the clean end.
Who said that?
It was a quote that I heard. Was it Corolla? No, it was a quote I heard that made me laugh hard.
That's great. All right, let's stop. Let's stop with this ongoing inside joke.
How
long have we known each other? It's got to be damn near
a long time.
Over a decade.
You're one of my favorite people I don't see enough, so that's why.
But you know what? That's the only thing I'd say. Because when we were all starting out, well, you were always ahead of me though. You already had a career.
Yeah.
When I came to LA, but it's weird now that like all the guys I used to tour with, that we used to have fun with, everybody's on their own now, because we used to have to put tours together.
Yeah.
In order to get on the road together. Like I did the Young American tour. I used to tour with like Byrne and Sebastian, obviously with Vince Vaughn tour, and then when you become more established and you get your own shit, and then
you spend a lot of time alone.
Yeah,
and that is true about being a comic. I think I talked to Dub about that a lot. You spend your whole day alone when you're on the road, which and then you have the opposite extreme. Now you're on stage and everybody is laughing and they want to be with you. Then you get off and you take pictures or whatever it is, and you get inundated with people. Mm-hmm. And then you're wired and you can't really go to bed, and it's a crazy existence, man. It's a very unorthodox.
Well, you know what it is. Your body's tired, but your mind's not.
Right.
Now, you're not a big drinker, though, are you?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not a drinker.
I've never been a drugger or a drinker.
I've never smoked weed or any of that shit, man. Have you ever tried it?
I've smoked weed and I've done blow a couple times, but I'm just not a drug guy. I did mushrooms once. I never did acid.
You're a drug guy in my book.
Yeah, exactly.
I shot heroin a few times.
Well, I smoked weed with Rogan. He had me do the podcast, and I called him up 3 hours later. I was like, bro, I'm still high. I have shit to do. I can't even drive anywhere.
Well, I'm sure he gets the good weed. That's let me tell you. Well, I mean, I guess people know about that now, but I've known Joe a long time, as obviously you have.
Yeah.
And people never really realized how fucking smart he was.
Oh, he's smart
Still
as shit.
is, man.
Disciplined and smart. And by the way, didn't start smoking weed until I think he was about 35 and got more intense. He's
the only one where weed went the other way.
Got more successful after smoking weed. There's nobody in the history of the world who can do that.
What was the craziest thing to me is if I got high, I would have freaked the fuck out. I'm watching Sci-Fi Network. Then all of a sudden I'm like, what the fuck? Rogan and Duncan are looking for aliens. aliens. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I know.
What the fuck?
He wants me to do an episode of it. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't believe in any
I mean,
of
but
this stuff.
everything is still looking for aliens, right?
No. It's Joe Rogan questions everything.
Yeah, I know, but you should do one where you're questioning your sexuality.
I don't know why I get these feelings sometimes. It's so weird.
Going around West Hollywood.
Sure, tits are great, but what's up with this dick? Echo. What do you think about? What do you think is the? You're starting to get more and more successful. How old are you now?
I'm pushing 40.
Yeah. So you, I think you got a girl. You're very serious.
Married.
You're getting married.
Yeah.
So and kids probably on the horizon. What do you think? Is there a sort of a recurring thought in your head? Do you have a recurring question?
Well, you got to ask me my age again. I'll give you the LA answer.
Yeah. How old are you?
25 to 35.
There you go. Well, I play 28, but But what do you think? What do you think about every day? Have you changed your
providing?
Yeah,
I mean it's provisions, bro. I mean, I've never had a lifeline. You know what I mean? So I've always been able
on your own.
Yeah, I've always been able to survive. Even as a kid, I my mother, God bless her, and I had a stepfather too. That but on pretty much I've done everything.
Yeah.
There's no, hey, I need this amount of money. And now that I'm getting married, I'm doing better than, a lot of people, but
sure.
It's still not a life to be on the road fucking 35 weeks out of the year. You know what I mean? And Thursday through Sunday sometimes. And, especially if you want to have kids. So that's my main concern right now, how to provide.
I think that it's a matter of time before, you're going to shoot a special and it's going to be undeniable.
That's what I'm waiting on. I mean, we've been going back and forth for almost a year and a half now, almost 2 years. And
it's amazing to me because you're so good and so much better than the people I see who get
specials. But, sometimes it's not about that. And sometimes, too, it's hard to judge. I mean, we know people from the clubs, but I'm saying sometimes you could see a special on TV and it doesn't do the comic justice.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't watch my own special.
Yeah, I hate. I mean, even though my half hour was voted top 5 in Stand Up Showdown.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was 2011, I think. But
makes sense.
Even though I listened to it and it's lazy. There's some lazy writing in it, and on top of that, the way I did it, I fucked up because I went over. And
then you had to edit.
Then they had to edit. So, I had a bit about
it. That's a killer because your bits have a life of their own.
But
they have their own rhythm.
And I did it myself, man. I fucked it up because there was a bit I did about extremists. How I hate the religious right and I hate the smug atheists that act like that they're smarter than the smartest guy in the room, and how I was doing a joke about how I hate both of them.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is a fair assessment.
Yeah.
And then because of time constraints, they took out the religious right, so a bit about extremists just became me hating on atheists, and then I got caught up in the prompter because but what I'm saying, when I watch it, even though a lot of people love it, and I would say about 80%, 85% of it I like, which you're never going to get 100%. And it's all, and by the way, a lot of comics, it's not Comedy Central. That has nothing to do with them. It has to do with me.
Yeah.
You understand? It has to do with me.
Yeah.
And me not being as, it was my first time doing it. So even there's a set I did on Lopez that I thought I tried to be, I came out a little bit more natural. And
I don't do those. I've had offers to do those talk shows. In fact, I think also Lopez at one point. And I find it very stressful and there's not enough payoff.
It's
go on a
hard
TV
to do
show and
5
do 4 minutes.
Yeah,
I
4
can't do
or 3.
It.
Yeah, because we're both more performers than writers. One of my bits alone is 7 minutes.
It's also the fact that
we're definitely live acts. You got to come see us.
No question. But there's also the fact that this
or unedited.
This marketplace in this world now that doesn't make a difference. You can shoot an hour special and it actually doesn't make a difference in a lot of ways. It makes a small difference, but nowadays to get people to really know you've got to do a lot of stuff over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Unless you get lucky and get a big show or something.
That's why people think, even with comics, I've been doing this 16. How long you been at 20, right?
I've been in LA for 18 years.
But I meant doing stand-up.
No, I took 8 years off. I really didn't start doing stand-up until 2006. I didn't do the road until 2008.
But when you started, though, didn't you start before you got Mad TV?
Yeah, but only for 5 months. believe it or not.
Really?
I had never done. I only had probably 15 minutes, and then I remember I was 33, and I said to Rogan I was going to get into stand-up, back into it. I'd always been kind of writing bits, and I would do a set once a month or something at something for 10 minutes. And I remember Steve Byrne calling me saying, "Callan, you got to start doing stand-up more often because you're killing me every time."
Well, I remember seeing you when I first moved out here, and then I didn't see you again.
Mm-hmm.
And then you showed up at the store with Joe, and we were talking, and that's like the first time we met. It was like 2000, I think.
Yeah, I've always had a love-hate relationship with stand-up. Now I love it, but I went literally. I mean, I'm 2006. I started doing 20-minute sets and stuff. I mean, but the difference is, the reason I think I was able to kind of parlay it into a headlining career and do well is because I'd always been thinking about it. I'd always been silly. In a way, I'd always been practicing stand-up. I'd always been writing stand-up from a very early age. So it's something I've been doing my whole life, communicating with an audience, whether it was people in my living room.
As well.
And performing.
Because you are a great actor.
Well, I don't know.
No, I'm saying outside of our little thing we do where we compliment each other. Sincerely.
Well, I studied it for so long. The frustrating thing with acting was that you have this skill set, so at least you work on, and a lot of the material doesn't call for it. So it becomes hard to. I think I became a stand-up because I realized acting was so precarious and so difficult to try to make it in.
What is precarious?
I'm glad you said that. I said,
you know what's funny though, by the way, whenever we're talking, whenever we try to compliment each other, we don't know if it's part of our
I know.
our little thing we do.
I know.
Like that, when you're being sincere.
Right. I'm a very my eyes mist over when I'm sincere.
But you are, man. You're very, very talented.
Well,
you're in some good. You run in some good circles too, man.
Yeah.
And it's not like.
Well, that's a huge part of.
But that's all
sustaining a career.
Yeah.
Attitude and treating people well, and also kind of making sure you are professional and the experience they have is a good one. That stuff is all like part of what gives you longevity.
And I mean, like for me, the one thing I take pride in is my, is my work ethic. I'll be honest with you. I never took off. I started in '97, and I've gotten up at least. Well, I would say there was a time when I got up two times a night, 4 to 5 nights a week. Consistently.
Wow.
And even being on the road. I've gone nonstop for almost 16 years. I have not fucking stopped.
Well, that's what's interesting, because I see these comics, and I'm thinking of somebody in particular, like, she's been doing stand-up for 3 years and can't understand why she's not featuring yet. Hey, this gig takes about as long as it takes to learn how to play the guitar really well, in my opinion.
Well, yeah.
I mean, stand-up takes forever in a way.
But I didn't want to make that a comment about my work ethic. I was going to say, where I think I run into problems is because I was an athlete my whole life. I mean, I played football, played college ball, Division II. But the point is that
I love the
when you're around a lot of theater types, they're very sensitive. They can get turned off by, I would say, male honesty. Does that make any sense?
I would agree 100%.
And they're
first of all,
I think a lot of them are so insecure sometimes that eventually they warm up to me, but they always say, like, I always thought you were a dick, or I thought you were, and it's like, what gives you that impression?
Yeah.
What?
As you say, what gives you that impression? You bitch.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a hard business to navigate through.
It's very hard, because I've always felt that way. You have to temper there's not a lot of room for testosterone, actually. I mean, especially on network TV. A lot of the men are, if you're aggressive or you write somebody who's aggressive, they're like, oh, that guy seems like kind of a dick. Well, no, he's a dude. He's just a guy.
Guys are dicks
and
now.
Guys sometimes can be irritable. They can certainly be aggressive.
Well, I mean, it's funny
stuff.
too how whenever they portray a guy, it's, male humor somehow is just, I drink beer, I'm an overgrown adolescent.
Right.
And, the men in general are, I mean, come on, man, we're very deep thinkers, and look at us.
And, by the way, sensitive.
And very sensitive. Aside. All bullshit aside. But I will say that that was a problem I think I had in the beginning. But, I mean, everybody pretty much knows me now. Knows the type of, now it's gone from didn't know if we liked him to we really like him to now let's just get the fuck away from him because he's really irritating. Why is he screaming in my face
Wait a minute.
about the Cowboys?
Oh, by the way, you're a huge Cowboys fan.
Yeah, diehard.
Yeah, and what do you think their chances are?
You know what? I was not impressed Sunday night. How the hell do you get 5 turnovers, 6 turnovers?
What do you think of Romo? Is it just?
I think Romo's. I honestly, I think it has been and always will be. Well, I don't think it will be now. But when we were running that 3-4 defense, it just was garbage. We didn't have the personnel for it. I mean, I don't want to get into the X's and O's of the game, but a cover 2 is what we're running now, which is more inside. You want to bring the receivers more inside underneath, but you can give up a big play every now and then, which they showed on Sunday night. But when we're running a 3-4 defense, it's basically you need a strong nose guard and 2 middle linebackers, which we have Sean Lee and Bruce Carter.
You got one quarterback to choose for your team of all time. Who is he?
Quarterback?
Yeah.
Montana.
Montana over Peyton Manning.
Well, hell yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Montana's he's one of those guys. He wins. He's
halfback. Who's your halfback?
Running backs?
Yeah.
If I got
fullback,
I got 2?
You get fullback. You get a halfback.
Fullback. It's such a tough position. I mean, you got Rathman, Darryl Johnson. I would go with Darryl Johnson only because I would have my first pick ever would be Walter Payton.
Okay.
And then the next one would be Emmitt Smith.
Well,
and
really?
then I would take Moose. To
he walked by me in a restaurant. I shook his hand. Emmitt Smith is built like the average UPS guy.
Yeah,
he's small.
He's tree trunk legs, man.
Huge legs, huh?
Yeah. But getting back to Montana won a high school championship, college championship, never lost a Super Bowl.
God.
He's just got he's got that thing about him.
That to me, a quarterback to me is the hardest position in sports, in any sport, anywhere, period.
I would say
an NFL quarterback, I mean, the things you have to deal with and play with pain, throwing and
and get back to Romo, like I'm glad the media is taking it easy on him because, they had a field day on him and like that interception he threw against the Giants to anybody that watches football would think it was his fault, but to anybody who played football would know the receiver didn't make the right read or the cut. See, in the NFL, the football's not where the receiver is; it's where he's supposed to be. So it's a whole different thing.
Who's your all-time middle linebacker?
Oh, Ray Lewis.
Really?
Yeah.
Over Mr. Taylor?
Over Lawrence Taylor was an outside linebacker.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you got to take LT if you're going outside because he redefined the position. But I would have my game. 2 outsides. I'd have LT and Derek Thomas. My interior defensive lineman Randy White, the Manster was amazing. Reggie White. I'll tell you, DeMarcus Ware is a great. He's coming into his own.
I love watching football. It's my favorite sport to watch. Professional sport to watch for the most part, except for I really love watching fighting. But I've soured on it with all this concussion, all this stuff coming out concussion. I have a tough time watching it now.
Why?
I don't know. It makes me feel as though I don't like watching the steady demise of a human being like that. I just think
I have no problem. I mean, I listen, man. I've had 4 in my career.
Yeah.
And it's just something that you go in knowing. I mean, it's not like you get to the league after playing
by that time you've had
little league, high school, college, and act like it's the league's responsibility to protect you from
I don't think it's the league's
concussions.
responsibility. I just think it's a little bit of a bummer that a lot of these guys have dementia by the time they're 45.
Then they shouldn't play.
Yeah.
Same thing with boxers and even fighters. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, a lot of these guys, if it wasn't for the league, they'd probably have been shot and killed.
Whoa! Excuse me, sir.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of nutcases. Hence, Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of crazy dudes that play ball, man. Yes. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, there are.
Yeah, but I mean, I got no problems with that shit, man. Yeah. I think the league now it's such a receiver friendly. I mean, when you look at the offenses now, look at the 4. There was 7 or 8, like a 400-yard game, quarterback.
It's crazy.
The receivers.
It's
a different game now.
Would Jim Brown still be? Would he be starting?
Yes, of course. Jim Brown was ahead of his time, and I'll tell you who else would have been Johnny Unitas.
Oh yeah,
Johnny Unitas could have played today. He's the first modern quarterback, definitely. Butkus would probably be, definitely be playing.
He was 270, dude. I talked to him. He goes, I was about 270 when I played. 270 as a linebacker.
Dude, he was a beast, man. To have Lewis and Butkus as your 2, if you're doing it 2 insides.
Yeah, that's crazy. We're almost out of time here, man. So I give you $20 million, you check out. You do a little stand-up on the road here and there.
Yeah, you got $20 million?
I might. There's a prize you get for doing this podcast.
No, I would just, buddy, like I said, I'm exhausted, man. I mean, I don't want to sound corny, but shit hasn't been easy since I was 6, and I'm just I'm tired now. I want my adult life, just to be. But money isn't necessarily the answer to that. But I've got all the lessons down. So
and you get paid for what you love to do, and you're damn good at it. And if you haven't seen Bret Ernst, you're out of your mind.
But I meant like life lessons I've learned. When they say, well, what doesn't kill you only makes you strong. I'm done with all that shit.
When you get to your, a certain age, and I'm I think 7 years older than you. The mysteries go away. I know how to behave. I know how people get good at things. It's not as though things are as overwhelming. I know where I stand. I know who I am. That's kind of an important place to arrive at.
And I wanted to say, but you probably men start to hit their stride at I'd say 35.
Yeah,
we really start.
I did.
You start to hit your stride.
I learned. I always say that in my 30s, especially about that age, I started learning exactly where to place my energy.
Did you like your 20s?
No,
me neither.
Very confusing. Very worrying.
I didn't like him at all.
My childhood and my 20s, everything was full of shame and confusion.
Dude, I was a loser in my 20s.
We all are. Most men.
Yeah, but I know people that got well into their careers, started saving money and shit. I was working in the nightclub business.
It depends. The math sometimes falls in your favor. You had the right guidance.
I didn't really start enjoying my life, I'd say, until about 35.
Yeah. I think that's pretty natural. Wait till you have kids. They're worrying, but they're great. All right. I think we've solved everything.
Yeah, we did. We solved the world's problems.
I'm going to do your podcast soon.
I want you to. And your teeth are amazing, by the way.
Thank you so much.
That's you never had any braces, right?
No, don't even have to brush my teeth.
I mean, I
live on fruit.
I've never had a cavity.
Yeah. Well, I'm without sin, and and I stand in my own truth.
That's why. That's
I
very
stole
good.
that from Maria Bamford.
Oh, really?
I got to get her on the podcast. I love Maria. I'm going to call
my
her.
wisdom teeth grew in perfect.
Oh no, you're a wolf. You're a human wolf. Congrats! Look at those canines. I mean, do you eat just legs of? Do you just tear off mutton?
Well, what I like to do, and my girl gets mad at me, but whenever I have a steak, I just like to throw it on the floor.
Do you?
And just eat it at the table.
Just throw it on the floor.
Just throw it right next to the chair. Just sit there and eat, and what's great sometimes, like my dog will come over, and I just.
Ah,
yeah, and just
and your girl hides behind her fingers. She stares at you through her fingers and goes, "You're such a wolf, Bret Ernst. You're a total wolf." If you want to see Bret Ernst, the wolf. If you want to see Bret the Wolf Ernst,
hey, no, I'll be in Cleveland this weekend, the 11th, 12th, and then I pull the trigger the weekend after that. And I get married. And then the weekend after that, I'm in San Diego, and then I just got added to the. Not the Cancun is it the Cancun Festival?
Of course, it's the #1 festival.
No, there's a comedy. Cabo San Lucas,
Cabo.
the comedy festival, October 2nd through.
There you go.
Whatever. So it should be a good.
What'd
time.
you spend on a wedding dress? Because I know what I spent.
I didn't. Well, I meant I know what I'm spending so far, but I don't want to divulge that information. She'd kill me.
She sure would. Ladies and gentlemen, that was
$4.
This has been the Bryan Callen Show. I love you all. Donnie B's.
You've been listening to the Bryan Callen Show. Be sure to visit BryanCallen.com for information about this episode as well as past and future episodes. You can follow Bryan on Twitter @BryanCallen and like him on Facebook. Go to Facebook.com/BryanCallenComedy. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time.